Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom, where money has history and knowledge becomes power.
Imagine waking up one morning to find that the value of your savings has dropped overnight. The stock market has plunged, housing prices have shifted, and the rules you thought governed the economy no longer apply. You panic, you scramble, but by the time you understand what happened, the system has already moved on. And yet, nobody broke the law, nobody staged a coup. Everything happened legally, but strategically. This isn't fiction. This is the power of the financial elite. A small, interconnected network of banks, investment firms, and policy makers has, for centuries, shaped the rules of money, credit, and trade. They hold the tools to reset economies at will, to create booms, trigger recessions, and redistribute wealth, often without the public ever realizing it. Today, we're going to uncover the history, the strategies, and the modern implications of this playbook. By the end, you'll see the economy and your place within it in a completely new light. To understand this playbook, we first need to understand power. Money isn't just currency, it's leverage. Control it, and you can shape nations, influence central banks, and you dictate interest rates. Own key assets, and you can move markets. But this power wasn't handed out overnight. It was built slowly, over centuries, through strategic accumulation, bold innovation, and sometimes ruthless decision-making. The playbook relies on patterns, cycles of creation and destruction, opportunities seized during crises, and a deep understanding of human behavior. Here's the paradox. The system appears open, democratic, and free. Citizens vote, invest, and participate. But the elite operates on a different plane, where money, credit, and policy converge to influence the economy in ways most people never notice. Our story begins centuries ago. In medieval Europe, wealth was concentrated in land, precious metals, and trade. Banking families like the Medici in Florence didn't just lend money, they lent influence. They financed wars, kings, and churches. Every loan came with strings, political leverage, social control, and sometimes direct ownership of assets. By the 18th century, the world was entering the age of empires, colonization, and global trade. Credit became formalized. Governments issued bonds to fund wars, infrastructure, and conquest. Whoever controlled the capital controlled outcomes. Wars were fought not only on battlefields, but in the ledgers of financiers. Industrialization in the 19th century accelerated the concentration of wealth. Factory owners, bankers, and early industrialists wielded unprecedented influence. They discovered a vital truth. Controlling access to credit and capital allowed them to shape entire economies, influence employment, and even steer political decisions, all without firing a single shot. The 20th century brought formal institutions, central banks, multinational corporations, and global financial networks. In 1913, the U.S. Federal Reserve was established, centralizing control over money supply, interest rates, and banking regulations. On paper, it was about stability and public trust. In practice, it became a lever for strategic influence. Central banks can inject liquidity, manipulate borrowing costs, and steer financial behavior. Coupled with private banks and investment firms, this creates a network capable of orchestrating economic resets, booms and busts, stimulus and austerity, inflation and deflation. Figures like J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, and later Wall Street magnates understood the playbook. During crises, they didn't just survive, they thrived. They lent to failing banks, purchased distressed assets, and reshaped markets to their advantage. The economy, they realized, isn't just supply and demand. It's opportunity, for those who know how to see it. Crises are not accidents, they are opportunities. The Great Depression, the stagflation of the 1970s, the 2008 financial collapse, each follows a pattern. Take 2008, millions lost homes, jobs, and savings. Banks collapsed, governments scrambled to intervene. But the elite, they were ready. Through bailouts, leveraged buyouts, and strategic asset purchases, they not only protected their wealth, they expanded it. The system absorbed the shock at the expense of ordinary citizens. The breaking point isn't just economic, it's psychological. Fear drives behavior. Panic spreads. People sell. They comply. The elite knows this. They use it, combined with financial instruments like derivatives, futures, and credit default swaps. They consolidate power and reset the economy on their terms. The consequences for the majority are stark. Debt rises, wages stagnate. Wealth concentrates at the top. Social mobility diminishes. Ordinary people work harder for less, while asset holders see exponential growth. Some numbers to consider. In the US, the top 1% controls nearly 40% of all wealth. Student debt exceeds $1.8 trillion, trapping generations. Real wages for middle-class workers have stagnated for decades. Despite productivity gains, these outcomes aren't random. They are predictable results of a system designed to reset economies in favor of those with capital and information. Governments have tried to intervene. Stimulus packages, progressive taxes, financial regulations. But the playbook adapts, loopholes emerge. Global capital shifts instantly, innovations in finance, derivatives, quantitative easing, even cryptocurrency, allow the elite to regain advantage. Even reforms that seem fair often fail because the system is dynamic. Those with insight act first, capturing the benefits before rules take full effect. Every attempt to level the field reinforces the advantage of those who understand and control the system. Today, the tools are more sophisticated than ever. Quantitative easing floods markets with new money, benefiting asset holders. Low interest rates inflate asset prices while encouraging debt accumulation. Globalized finance allows capital to move instantly, exploiting differences in regulation, taxation, and opportunity. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens face skyrocketing costs for housing, education, and healthcare. Wealth grows in markets, tech companies, and real estate, not wages. The cycle repeats, booms and busts, resets and recoveries, with the elite positioned to benefit every time. So, what can we learn from the financial elite's playbook? Awareness is power. Understanding how money, credit, and policy intersect is the first step toward agency. The system isn't chaotic. It follows predictable patterns. Debt is a tool of influence. Governments, corporations, and banks can shape behavior without force. Recognizing this influence allows individuals to navigate, hedge, or counteract its effects. Assets matter more than income. During resets, those who hold appreciating assets gain. Ordinary wages are vulnerable. Strategic investment, diversification, and understanding monetary policy are crucial for financial resilience.